Community is such a big word because we think of community as being face-to-face. Well, you know what? Podcasting is a form of community as well. Arrow.net, ARROE.net. We are unplugged and totally uncut with ReleasesThe.
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Such a serious subject. And with that thought, I also have to plant inside our hearts, how to survive middle school, not just for students, but for teachers as well.
Yes, and parents. Middle school is often to be survived, as you may remember.
So true. And, I've been that mobile entertainer, that DJ that goes to these middle school dances. I know how these kids are. I know what they want to release and everything like that. But my wife is a teacher. So, this book is so perfectly in tune with where we are, and we need leadership like this book.
Thank you. I happen to agree.
The learning loss from the pandemic. My wife to this day, she's got a studio here in the house where she communicates with students and stuff like that. But the thing is, though, is that the learning loss is people don't want to talk about it, but you are bravely walking forward.
Yeah, it is. It's a little scary. And at our school, we're seeing it firsthand. But, I have a lot of hope because kids are resilient. That's one thing I've learned through these years of being a school leader at this time and also an author for kids. They'll recover from this, but it will take time. And I agree, we have to be realistic with where we are right now and not ignore the fact that they've undergone trauma. They've undergone just a huge loss to their schooling. And we got to all get on board and try to fix this.
One of the greatest things about How to Survive Middle School is the fact that everybody that came together did so in a way of providing study guides, because so many times parents will go, I don't know. I was in school a long time ago.
Right. Well said. And I think, parents suffered as much as their kids trying to be teachers at home. I mean, they're not trained to do this. This was never what they intended. And I really respect what parents tried to do and what they had to do during those days. And the nice thing about these books is that they're written by educators. Mm-hmm. So that they're incorporating not only the content that middle schoolers need, but the thinking skills that are part of the way, we teach now. It's part of what's going on inside of schools, in the best schools. And so we've incorporated the very best of the Common Core and made it accessible and repeated and attractive to the kids as they move through all of the books in the series. So I feel very excited about that because parents are not teachers. But if they can turn their kids on to these books and even engage with them with the books, I feel very confident that the kids will be getting, again, not only the facts and stuff that they need to learn, but they'll be thinking. And as it says, they might just be smarter than their parents. And they love that.
Well, see, yeah, because that's
what they want.
That's got to be the positive in all of this, in the way that because so many times I pull the lens back to figure out, okay, what are we supposed to be learning from this? And when you get a book like How to Survive Middle School, you're pulling the bandage off and you're saying, give that baby some air because we need to physically build bridges over this gap that we have. We've got to get back into the plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also what I like about the books is that we're engaging kids in this to give them agency, right? It's one of the subtitles is a do-it-yourself guide. I mean, that's what middle school kids are about, right? Like, I don't need my parents anymore. I still think parents can read the book along with them. But, you are going to do this. You can do this. It's up to you to read this book. It's up to you to try to answer the questions that are throughout, or to look at the icons that are reminding you to stop and think. that's my hope, is that kids will grab this and they'll be empowered by it.
As a parent and as a grandparent, I love this book in the way that it really gets kids engaged in why they need to learn, because we are very quickly moving into this metaverse generation where they're going to be living in a second world. I can't believe that. And I mean you've got 5 core middle school subjects featured inside this book. They need to plant their thoughts into these pages.
Yeah, I mean, the future's happening fast, right? You know, we're living it right now. And so I think, you know, this idea that, like, education is somehow stagnant and that there's, like, a set of things that year after year kids learn, you know, we know that's not accurate, as you point out. So, that, again, you know, that's why we want kids to be excited about learning and to have tools that make them better learners and better processors of the overabundance of information that comes at them.
You're a history teacher. History is part of what you put into this book and stuff like that. History is changing as quickly as well. And there are many times I want to sit down with a middle schooler and say, yes, there is a war in Ukraine, but do you realize what happened in 2014? You need to know your history.
Yep. I mean, you know, that's a theme that they'll take away from my book, is that, you know, there are these themes that are repeated in history. And, you know, I make a joke about it. Like, you know, human beings sometimes have to keep learning the same lesson over and over again, you know, and sometimes we get smarter for a while and then we're not. And, you know, we're screwing up all the time. And yet, there's a lot of heroism in history, and there's inspiration that kids can take from the pages. And, you know, we want kids to see themselves in these stories of history and to realize that it's a fabulous story. It's not boring. It's incredible. It's the greatest adventure there ever was. And we can never tell it completely, but we've really tried to pull out the things we feel are most important and also, you know, engaging for this age group. And
what's so fascinating about history, and first of all, I love history, but it's so amazing that things that happen in real life usually end up in a movie, but it may not be exactly like what happened in history, but you're going to go, oh my God, this happened at a different time, and they're pulling from that history to make this movie.
Yeah. It's a great drama. That the book addresses from the beginnings of civilization all the way up until the pandemic. Of course, we weren't able to treat it completely, but I do hope that, like, kids will recognize that the world is very, very, very big and very old. And I think in the U.S. sometimes we focus a lot on American history, and we have a wonderful book in the series about that. But to see beyond our borders and to be able to see history holistically and then think for yourself about the really big questions that we face as humans, I know that's lofty, but that is really my hope for kids reading this book.
How were you able to put it into what I call street speak? Because, I mean, so many times when you share a book like this with students, they go, oh, man. But yet you do it in a way that's inviting and not, you know, a moment of pushing away.
Oh, thank you. That is so what I wanted to do. Tone matters, especially with this age group. So, you know, I think what I did was, you know, I was a teacher for many years, and I just kind of put on my teacher voice, and I wrote it imagining I was speaking to a 6th or 7th or 8th grader. I wanted them to be engaged not only by the content, not only by the illustrations, but also by the voice that was there guiding them and saying, hey, you got this. And now let's check this out. And did you ever think about this? And then, you know, a little bit of humor in there too. So, you know, I do think it helps a lot being a teacher, and then just, you know, enjoying the writing of it and letting it be playful at times.
You know, Elizabeth, people are going to grab this book. These teachers are going to grab it, and they're going to use it as a study guide. Plus, there's a lot of schools outside the normal education that are going to use this as a tool as well when they do their tutoring.
Yes, I do think it'll reach those folks, and it's badly needed. I mean, there are wonderful resources out there, but I think, Random House thought of a way to do something new and do something super engaging, and, we had no idea it was going to land, during the pandemic. The pandemic hadn't happened when they started thinking about this, so I'm really happy that it's coming out now and that, it can help kids when they need it most.
Where can they go to find out more about you, Elizabeth, and to find out more about this book and stuff like that? Because, I mean, listeners are in their moment of now, but they're going to say, now, what was I listening to again? And so they need a place to go.
Right. Well, the books are sold widely, right? I mean, it doesn't take much to find where these books could be located. It's published by Random House Children's Books, and all of the major book suppliers are carrying it right now. So I have a feeling that it's going to be at people's fingertips. If they Google it or walk into their bookstore, they can certainly order it or find it right there.
Man, I'll tell you what, I would sell it at Home Depot because that's where moms and dads are, and they're going to go, what? I can build my student with my house?
Oh, that's a great idea. Totally, yeah. I'm not sure about that one, but let's hope it's a household object, right? Because homes still need paper books in them.
You bet.
Get the kids off the screen time all the time, right?
Please come back to this show anytime in the future, Elizabeth. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh, terrific. I would love to.
Excellent. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
All righty. I'm sure you will be too.